Hi everyone, this is a PR70 makeup lecture. I'm recording this on Wednesday, October 7th. We tried to have a makeup session last Thursday, October 1st, and a number of you were unable to come, like about half the class. So I wanted to cover the stuff we did discuss in class with those of you who couldn't get there. And in addition, I expanded the lecture a little bit to include some new material. I found some new things that I think will be helpful to everyone in the class, so I hope you'll all take a look at this. And just to wet your whistle, to get your attention, we're going to be talking about MLA, and there'll be an MLA quiz next time we meet on Tuesday, October 13th. Many students along the way have said to me, we're confused. We don't know whether to write in MLA or to write in AP style. We're very used to writing in AP style, they say. And what's this MLA stuff? So here's the deal. We're PR people. We write journalistically, and therefore AP style is very important. Don't change that. Write in AP style. That's what it's all about. No need to change the way you write. What you're changing is the way you cite information and the way you attribute information. Let's talk first about in-text citations. You think about in-text citations, what you're really dealing with here is a word version of a footnote. If you think about footnotes, 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be on a page. Here you're dealing with phrases, and those phrases are going to be one of two things. They're going to be either authors or titles. And there'll be a couple of variations of that, but that's essentially what they're going to be. So we know what they're going to be. Now we have another question. Where are they going to go? And the answer to that is really very, very simple. They are going to go at the end of a sentence or paragraph as close as possible to the material being cited. I mentioned to you that we're either going to have authors or titles. The preference is to have to show an author, and the way you do that in an in-text citation is at the end of the sentence that you're using, and before you have the punctuation for the sentence, you have open parenthesis, author, space, page, close parenthesis, punctuation, which should usually be a period. Now, this of course assumes that you have a page. If you don't have a page, what do? It's simply open parenthesis, author, close parenthesis, punctuation. Not very complicated. If you don't have an author, you should have a title. And in which case it would be open parenthesis, title, probably no page, just title, close parenthesis. If you don't have an author or title, you might have a website. It would be open parenthesis, website, close parenthesis, punctuation, and that's it. Now, there are a couple of variations, of course, that go beyond this. There are a couple of cases that always come up, that make it a little bit more complicated. We'll talk about that. First of all, you can have a situation where you refer to the author in the body of the text. If you know the page, the in-text citation is simply open parenthesis, page, close parenthesis. If you don't know the page, there's no in-text citation. You've mentioned the author, you pick up the author in the works cited list, and that's all there is to it. Okay, so sometimes you have a situation where you have one author with multiple titles. So there what you would do is it would be open parenthesis, author, comma, title in quotes, close parenthesis, punctuation for the sentence. MLA has an anomaly when it comes to in-text citations with two authors. Here's how it works. You show the first author, then you have a comma after that first name, the word and, the second author, close parenthesis, punctuation. That's the anomaly. The hardest part of the MLA system for students is really creating works cited lists. The reason it's hard is that there are many, many variations of a works cited list entry. So let's first begin with the basics of how you set up and sort of create an MLA works cited list. First of all, it always starts on a new page. and it includes every article or document that you refer to in your paper. If you didn't refer to an item in your paper, it probably doesn't have to be in the works cited list. So essentially, the works cited list should match up very closely, if not be identical, to those articles that you listed as in-text citations. The title, by the way, for the works cited list is simply works cited, not works cited list, just works cited. Entries appear in alphabetical order. They go either by author or by title. In other words, if you have some authors, you have some titles, you intermix them using an alphabetical sequence. The basic format for a works cited list is author's name, period, title, period, and then publication and source details. I know that you'll be doing a lot of searching for material on the internet. Hopefully you'll be using databases, but I know perhaps you'll be using Google as well. So it's important for you to understand the basic format for articles that you find on the internet. And here's how it works. You have the author and or the editor names if they're available. You show the article name in quotation marks. You have the title of the website, the project, or the book in italics. You have the version numbers if they're available. You have revisions, posting dates, volumes, issue numbers, publisher information, page numbers if they're available, the medium of publication, in other words, if it's print or web, and if it's on the web, the date that you access the material. That's the basic structure for a works cited list format for internet sources. Here's an example using a ProQuest article called Higher Education at What Cost, written by somebody named Catherine Whitmore. It ran in the Boston Globe in 2013. And this is what the citation should look like. Whittemore Catherine, Higher Education, at what cost, it's in quotation marks, Boston Globe in parenthesis, the date, the source, ProQuest, the fact that it came from the web, and the date that you accessed the material. Here's another one. This one comes from a Nexus search from the Idaho Falls Register. One of the most complicated parts of the MLA system is dealing with works cited entries. There are many, many varieties of these entries, and you need to know really the precise formula for each kind of entry. That's the bad news. The good news is you can find these formats, if you will, very, very easily. If you buy the MLA handbook, you've got the handbook is just filled with works cited list formats. If you buy the book, you can keyword search it. So if you were looking to figure out how to cite a YouTube article, you would probably or YouTube video rather, you would just cite online video and you'd get the proper format. And you can do pretty much the same thing with the Lester book. The Lester book, Writing Research Paper, is a complete guide. In many ways, I like it more than the MLA handbook because it helps you with writing style as well as with citation style. In Chapter 14 is nothing but a whole chapter devoted to the various forms of works cited list citations, and they're all there. And you don't even need most of the time to use books, because there are many, many online sources. My favorite is the Purdue Online Writing Lab. It's an OWL, the Purdue OWL. This is what it looks like. It is incredibly ingenious. It essentially has taken the MLA handbook and turned it into a really neat online compendium. And it's when I have to look up a format that I need to use, or if I'm checking on something that you use, I'll be honest, the place I go first is the Purdue Writing Lab. It's very, very easy to find the correct format for anything having to do with MLA. By the way, although this chart is showing you the URLs for Purdue and for Cornell, you don't really need to know them. The easiest way to find the Purdue OWL for MLA is just Google Purdue OWL MLA, and it will give you the exact place to go. All right, now a couple of other sources for MLA help. The Post Library has produced a very excellent library guide. It also has many works cited format examples, and if you don't like the ones that are there, there's a link to something called the Hacker Handbook. This is not what you think about with hackers. Hacker is the person, I think her name is Eileen Hacker, or the woman who produced the Hacker Handbook. And the handbook has even more format examples, very similar in many respects to what you'll find in the Lecture book. But if you want to find it online, you can find it in the Post Library Guide. Now, if you are using databases, it's even easier because the databases give you the ability to create a citation 95% of the time going to be perfectly formatted when you ask to export the bibliographic information in MLA format. Let me actually show you how this works. Let's actually run a search. We'll do a search in ProQuest and Nexus. We'll demonstrate later in this semester how you actually run the ProQuest and Nexus. I just want to show you how you extract in correct format work citation entries. So we'll run a search very simple search, college graduation rates, very simple. We'll run it in ProQuest and we'll run it in Nexus, and let's see what we come up with. So first I ran the search in Nexus Lexis, and I came up with an article called Feds Rollout College Comparison Tool from the Walla Walla Union Bulletin in Washington, which is okay, it doesn't matter where it came from. Now, in the bar that has a printer icon and an email icon, the fourth icon from the left says Export Bibliographic References. This is what happens when you click that icon. It asks you what you want to export, and in this case we'll take the current document, and it asks you what style you want. I chose MLA. Hit the export button and you get a perfectly formatted MLA works cited citation. Doesn't get easier than that. Once you have the citation, all you need to do is copy it and paste it into your document. What could be easier than that? This time we'll run the same search, college graduation rates, in ProQuest, and I pulled up an article with the headline Zuckerberg's $100 million lesson. The point I want to make here is that if you look over to the right of the results screen, there is an icon called Cite. All you need to do is click on that icon, click on MLA, and you will get a perfectly formatted MLA work cited list entry. One thing, by the way, it'll come up single spaced. You have to change it from single spaced to double spaced. So when you're using databases like ProQuest and Nexus, it's very, very easy to get bibliography information in MLA format. You can get the citation just produced just the way you need it. Now, there are a couple of resources available when you search the internet using a search engine like Google, for example. You can do it manually using the formula that I showed you on the chart, or there are a couple of sites out there that do it for you. One of them is called EasyBib. This is what it looks like. And you can actually use it as a search engine. It's not a very good search engine, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. But it has a manual entry mode that you can use that will take the bibliographical information and give you the site in MLA style. The second citation generator is called Citation Machine, and it is very, very similar to EasyBib. Works pretty much the same way. Again, it has a search engine. Not something I recommend, but you can give it a try if you'd like. And you have a manual mode to enter bibliographical information, and once again it will generate for you a citation in MLA style. So there are many, many ways of getting that works cited entry produced. You can do it manually using the formulas. You can look in Lester for the various forms of citations. You can use the MLA handbook. If you're using something from a database, you can just use the database to generate the citation. You can use something like EasyBib, or you can use Master Citation. Hey, before we wrap this up, let me just go over a couple of, we'll call them style issues. Basically, how you set up an MLA paper in MLA style, if you will. The basic concept. Let me give you a phrase that really gives you the basic concept. Phrase is double or nothing. Everything is double spaced. Everything. The sort of the information at the top of the report, your name, the date, the course, double spaced. The text of the paper, double spaced. Even long quotes that have the double indents, they're double spaced. The works cited list, that's double spaced too. So when it comes to spacing, double or nothing, and you're in business. Other things, pretty much standard stuff. 1-inch margins, indent all the paragraphs, standard indents 1/2 inch. Pagination, one thing about pagination, it goes at the top right of an MLA report, and the format for it is last name, space, page number. And there you have it, in probably less than a minute, the basic concepts of MLA style. Let's wrap things up by just reviewing where we've been. We've been talking exclusively about MLA. We talked about the fundamental concepts in MLA. Particularly in-text citations and the works cited list. We talked about how to format an MLA report, and we talked about where to get help. And my recommendation for help, it's one of those 4-letter words that's out there and that you want to rely on. Help. If you need help when it comes to MLA, I think the best place to go is the Purdue OWL. Just Google Purdue OWL MLA, and you're in business. I hope you found this report helpful. I'd very much like to get your feedback on the strengths and maybe the weaknesses of this kind of lecture. It would be very, very helpful to me to hear from you. And I particularly hope you found this helpful and that you'll do extremely well in the MLA quizzes that will be coming up through the semester.